Welcome back, tired parents. If you're struggling with mom guilt, like so many of us mamas, we can find relief. It's in God's word, and we're going to take another dive into that topic today. This is Tired But Called, and I'm your host, Dani Kinchen. We're here looking for and finding real hope for tired parents. Every week, we cover topics that real parents are struggling with and explore how God's word offers us encouragement in that area. If you're new here, I am so glad that you're joining us. I'm a mom of three. I've worked in family ministry. I serve in family ministry, and I am so passionate about supporting parents with God's word. Also, in this episode and every episode, I do share a parenting/family discipleship high and low for our family every single week. So you can actually see what family discipleship looks like in my house. Today, we are in part 3 of our 3-part series, Talking Mom Guilt. You can jump right in here or feel free to go back and check out the first 2 episodes of this series first. All right, tired parents, let's do this. Hey, y'all. Let's get started with my family discipleship high and low for the week. High of the week. My daughter learned this week, I think, for the first time, the true joy of giving. I don't know if y'all have this in your neighborhoods, but Santa comes through on a fire truck in our neighborhood. He also did this whenever I was growing up in my old neighborhood. So I think it's a widespread thing. Anyhow, he comes through and he tosses little pieces of candy and, he waves and the kids are super excited. The sirens are really loud and it's definitely an event that they enjoy every single year. We have started a tradition where we take the kids to the store and they get to pick out one toy that they are going to donate to another kid in need. We went to the store, we picked out a toy, everyone got one toy. And this year we decided to donate that toy by giving it over to the truck that follows Santa around our neighborhood and gathers up donations. And so Santa comes by, it's super loud, sirens, candy's thrown, very exciting for the kids. And then we ran out there and the kids handed off the toys that we had purchased for the kids in need. And when we get back inside after everything, my 2-year-old says, a kid is going to be happy when he wakes up on Christmas morning because I gave him a toy. And that's what stuck with her. And she actually repeated it a few times. And that's what kept her smiling for the rest of the evening until put down. And it was just so cool to see the joy break out over her, that out of all of the events that happened, that was the moment and the concept that stuck with her. Definitely a high of the week. Low of the week. I had a moment of panic this week because I got overwhelmed between the Christmas to-do list and we actually have a family birthday that comes not long after Christmas that has its own to-do list. And on top of that, it's been a really busy month for me and for our family. I didn't get to do some of the things that I normally really love doing this time of year, including putting out my Dickens Village. I don't know how many of you out there love to do that, but I really do. Sending out legitimate traditional Christmas cards and really spending time giving good gifts. I actually love thinking through thoughtful gifts and putting them together and putting special wrapping paper on them. I just really enjoy that process and I haven't had the time really to do that this year. And it's been a bit of a letdown that I haven't gotten to share a lot of the normal traditions that we have with our kids this year because of the season that we're in. I just realized that this year's Christmas is really going to look different from some of our prior Christmases. After I thought about this challenge a little bit, it just sent me into a mode of thankfulness. Christmases might look different season to season, but God's Christmas story stays the same. And I am so thankful for that. All right, let's dive into today's topic. As always, you can read the article behind this episode at the link below. Today is our 3rd episode and last episode, at least for now, talking about mom guilt. So, whether or not you've been with us on this entire journey or not, you're probably aware that mothers across the globe are parenting with mom guilt. In this 3-part series, we're examining 3 major claims against us as mothers. And in this series, our question has been, where does the Lord fall on these claims? And if we look at them, is there encouragement for us? Is there direction for us? So far, the answer has been yes, but let's see about today. The first claim we examined, if you remember, is that we do not meet God's standard for a perfect parent. The second claim we considered was that we don't meet society's standard for a perfect parent. And if you're interested in hearing responses to both of those claims, check out episode 1, episode 2. But what is the third claim against us then? The third claim we're looking at today is that we don't meet our standard for a good parent. And in this third claim, the issue for us is whether we meet that standard, and if not, what do we do about it, y'all? If you haven't heard enough statistics about mom guilt yet, I just want to share one last stat before we're done with this topic. In a 2017 Good to Know survey of 900 UK moms, about 430 of the participants said that the majority of mom guilt that they experienced actually came from themselves. And so that's why we're talking about this topic today. You probably had an idea of the mother that you would be or could be. I know I did. And now maybe you aren't that mother. Maybe you haven't achieved that home or childhood environment that you set out to give your kids, or maybe you aren't that quote type of mother that you set out to be. When we fail to match these ideals as a mother or even as a household manager, that's when that mom guilt seeps in. And that's our issue. And at the risk of repeating myself, y'all, to address this issue, we are going to look at the ever relevant rule, and that's God's word. Isaiah 33:22. God alone is our judge, our lawgiver, and our king. So when we're talking about this type of mother, we're not really talking about something that's directly correlated to sin, right? So for me, it was this idea of raising them on this small farm, 6 kids, perfect maxi dresses, and chickens. There would definitely be chickens. And chickens is still on my bucket list, y'all. But you get the idea. Before we become parents, or maybe even as early parents, we get this idea of the type of mom that we're going to be, or the type of childhood that we will provide. Do we find our ideal good mother etched into God's law? No, y'all, she isn't there. There's only God's standard in the word. Achieving this type of motherhood that we seek, it's not a burden from God. All different types of motherhoods are equally pursuing God. God's ideal life for you and me, parenthood included, often looks different from our ideal for ourselves. And that's because of Isaiah 55 verses 8 through 9. It says, "For God's thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways God's ways. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are God's ways higher than your ways, and God's thoughts than your thoughts." We have permission to let go of that ideal mother. If you have carried her around with you for a long time, you can let her go. You really can let her go. She has nothing to offer us. She's this measurement that's separate and apart from God's vision for us. God has a vision for your life, and he's pulling you toward it. His plans are far better than we can imagine. We are going to see fruit that we never would have enjoyed if we kept chasing that ideal mother in our heads. Ephesians 3:20, it tells us he is able to do immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine, according to his power that is at work within us. The truth is, a lot of us, me included, set out in parenting with this expectation of having control that we never had before or after we became mothers. Motherhood certainly changes a great deal in our lives, but it doesn't change the level of control that we have over our lives. The good news here is that it also doesn't change who is in control. The God who loves you and is working for you is the God in control. Proverbs 16:9 says, "The heart of man plans his way, but the Lord establishes his steps." If we can submit our day to day, our picture to the Lord, He will establish our steps for our good and His glory. Because He who began a good work in you will bring it to completion at the day of Jesus Christ. Philippians 1:6. Mamas, you can let go of that ideal mom. You can let go of her because God is with you. One aspect of this type of motherhood that I had in my head was that my kids would always be wearing maybe not matching clothes, but clothes that looked good together, lots of off-white, vintage colors. You've seen those types of Instagram photos. That's what I had in my head. Well, I had to let go of that. And I am really glad that I did, y'all. I want to give you hope here. I am really glad I did because I have this photo of my 2-year-old on her birthday that I never would have gotten if I hadn't let go of that idea of motherhood. It's probably one of my top 5 favorite photos from all of my kids' childhood. She's wearing a tutu dress. She's got a ton of fake jewelry on. She's wearing a hot pink beret hat. She's wearing multicolored rain boots. And she's pushing a fake HEB grocery cart in the middle of our den. And I caught this photo of her in this total getup. And she's got this like Tiger Woods, like winning fist pump. And if you watch golf, you know what I'm talking about. I never would have gotten to see that picture if I hadn't let go of this ideal mother that I had in my head. I, in that moment, did not match my ideal mother, but God had a greater moment planned for me that day. I still struggle with her at times, but I am seeing all the joy that God has for me that I get to pick up whenever I let her go. You can let her go because God is with you. If today encouraged you, subscribe wherever you're listening, leave a comment, let me know what you thought of this episode. And if you could take a minute, please leave a review. It helps other listeners find our show. If you know any tired parents, tell them to check out this podcast for encouragement. You can always reach out to me by email at tiredbutcalled@gmail.com. Tired parents, I see you, and I will see you next week.